Hello everyone. So right now we will like to moving on to the next keynote speaker. We are thrilled to welcome Mr. Sandeep Agarwal, founder and the CEO of SutraNova Ventures and a leader dedicated to empowering startups and driving innovation in India's entrepreneurial landscape. Also an electrifying keynote speaker that explores one of the most defining questions of our era. Can AI powered startups leapfrog traditional growth and reach unicorn status faster than ever before? Please, we would like to come up on the stage, Mr. Sandeep Agarwal.
Hi guys, good morning. All awake? Great. So thanks DJ for the wonderful note and a wonderful start. You thrilled some of my points. Of course, you had an advantage for going first. But good. I was not going to introduce my company. Actually, I just started a month back, SutraNova Ventures. That's why you don't know about it. But some of the points that DJ mentioned, I think it's covered as part of my venture. First, it was a curious thought after 31 years in corporate life to do something unique, something which people have not tried before. DJ also talked about collaboration. Yes, that was the theme of Sutranova. It was meant for not only joining two companies, but getting 100 startup companies together to create a unicorn. Nobody has thought about it, nobody has dreamt about it, but that's the intention in which I started this particular venture, is to look at the strengths of each of these founders, each of these companies, and bring together a common vision that they can take a bigger solution to the market and a bigger stuff. So win-win for everybody, right? That was the whole theme to get Sutranova started. So just about me, I am, like I said, actually 31 years in corporate life. I had two IPOs, successful IPOs that I was part of. Mindtree, when I started very early in 99. I was there for 13 years, did a successful IPO with Mindtree, and then joined Happiest Minds, of course, with Ashok coming out of Mindtree, people who know the story. I saw another IPO in Happiest Minds. That was the only IT company which went IPO in 2020 in the midst of COVID, where people were even struggling to see whether the companies will survive. And here is this one company which is trying to go IPO and make money out of people were like fearful, but one company that really made huge money at that particular point of time. Post that, I started a GCC for a US multinational. In 2020, I joined after Happiest Minds, and 4 years, we made it to about 300 million. It was a 100 million company. We did 3x of the company, and I was leading the India Center. Actually, I started the GCC for India Center and grown from 0 to 3,000 people in just 3 years' time. So that's a small journey of what I've done so far. And of course, as a venture, we will be doing a lot more with collaborative minds, and hope some of the people sitting here will be part of that particular collaboration as we go along. So here I wanted to talk about quick things about AI to IPO. Of course, every single technology that comes up, and we have seen that, right, in decades, and every 5 years there has been a technology change that's happening. Since the 1994, at least when I started my journey back then, there was a revolution of technology every 5 years that we have seen. 95 was one, which was bought the computer together, and the IT services really kicked off from an India perspective. Then, of course, the 1999 boom happened, the dot-com boom. We saw that particular major change. 2008, we saw the cloud boom happening. Of course, the cloud and mobile almost came together, which literally took all the technologies to the fingertips of the people, brought it to the people that were not connected in the technology to get connected. And of course, then we saw the edge of IoT coming in, where physical devices started talking in some sense, of course, limited by a lot of uh, the technologies that really wanted IoT to succeed, but that time it was not there. And today, all those technologies that we have seen in phases that came together, the cloud, the mobile, the IoT, the social, with AI, it's kind of binding together. because it gave the power that always the computer specialist or computer enthusiast wanted to have, that within the machine, which was the logical reasoning, context setting, ability to talk with humans like any other humans. So all that thing really made literal sense of all those technologies that came together, and now we can actually see the real use of talking to the machine. It's not no longer an HMI interface that we are used to, but it's going to be more of machine to machine interface, machine to machine talking in a real sense, which will deliver the results, right? And that's the age we are talking about. Fortunate are all those people that are coming out of colleges right now, some of the young founders that I see in this particular forum, that you are actually coming into this particular stage where you are challenging even the biggies into this particular stuff. So whether you take Microsoft, Amazon, Google, the hyperscalers of the world, or you take the startups like OpenAI, which are actually emerging right now, you have a golden opportunity today. Be in sync with them and try to disrupt as much as they could. You could also disrupt it, right? We saw the DeepSeek. So what about DeepSeek in India? Right? We saw the UPI revolution in India. Why not an AI stack in India? So those are the things that I'm going to just ignite your mind, leave some curiosity thoughts in your mind so that you can think of an idea that can really spark and not only create an IPO, but a world-class company that we all should be proud of. Just to get a sense of the audience poll here, how many are first-time founders? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1/3. Okay. Uh, People from corporate, uh, and people who are supporting the ecosystem as a consultant, startup, ventures. Oh, quite a few. Oh, nice. Awesome. So I think the crowd is good. It will give me also the sense to talk in different particular levels. Of course, I need to see the people who are just coming in, but nothing will be new. There are certain numbers that I'll go through, not because I wanted to go and talk about the big numbers. I generally don't like talking numbers because it just doesn't help when you are actually looking at it, but it just gives you a perspective about where that particular market is headed, what kind of investments are getting done, and what is that big pie. You just need to understand the big pie. Your share will be very small in that particular big pie, but if you see the whole picture, it just gives you an idea of what we are up to into that and what is the next 5 to 10 years journey is going to look like. So this two quotes, I love that actually, and it's a recent quotes, one by Satya Nadella, Microsoft head. He talked about AI is radically changing. Even Microsoft didn't expect what an AI could do, right? As they started playing with their own co-pilot, every day was a new change that they could see it within their particular framework. Their engineers used to come back and say, today I did this, today I did this, and they could see a new perspective every time emerging out from what they had built, never thought that AI would respond into that particular manner. So even Microsoft talking about that we are changing how the AI is behaving, right? It's not the other way around, which they were used to. They were talking to the world how an Excel should be used, or how a Word should be used, or how a PowerPoint should be used, or how cloud should be configured. But now they are learning from what the AI could bring in, and they are changing the company rapidly in terms of what AI is trying to build up. Of course, NVIDIA, the talk of the town, the biggest company I would say actually today, is talking about actually you're the engine of the largest industrial revolution that people have said. People thought internet was the largest revolution and probably will not see another internet getting built up. But now we are again comparing back to the electricity age where electricity changed almost the world in which we live in, right? So he's basically talking about AI is a transformative and impactful as an electricity was there. And you'll see that some of these particular things, of course, there is a bubble people talk about. I'm not going to be very optimistic about what AI is going to bring in. We'll also talk about challenges in terms of what you should be careful about. And there is always a bubble in a new technology that comes out. The bubble gets busted, you'll get some things which gets normalized, but the sequential things of that, what is really going to be successful, will see a transformative change in the way we do business today. So why now? So AI is the new electricity. We talked about it. It's an exponential growth. It's going to hit 1.5 trillion. We are talking about this year. We are not talking about years later. And how old is the particular this technology? The Gen AI world of AI I'm talking about. Of course, AI is old as 30 years. We are not talking about the old AI. But in the generative AI, actually, we are talking about just in 3 years' time, we are crossing about 1.5 trillion. None of the technologies before has done that massive transformation. And of course, AI infra, Gen AI, and AI optimized servers are leading the wave. We saw global enterprises, because that's another thing, right? How much of the things gets adopted quickly into the enterprises? As DJ said rightly, that AI is for everyone. And that's the major changes. Any guesses how much IT budgets was there before AI came in actually? What is the general enterprise IT budget? How much an enterprise used to spend for an IT? Percentage wise. Just a wild guess. I'm sure people in corporates would know it. 16, 1 6? 60, no. Yeah. So roughly in single digits, higher single digits, I would say actually 9 to 10% is what the IT spend used to be. Because business used to rely on IT organizations. So CIO was kind of a leader into the particular IT. Business never knew much about the IT, especially if it's not an IT business that they used to run, whether it's a retail, manufacturing, and everything. The CEO and the business leader never used to know too much about IT because they never knew how to use it actually. So there was a single dependency in which they used to give that, and that was the CIO of the organization. So budgets were pretty limited in terms of that. But suddenly what has happened, the business have started using digital in a way that they can actually do the business transformation, not just the digital transformation, but the business transformation. That sudden budget of 11% that was there with the enterprises have moved now to about 22 to 25%. So you can see a massive jump in terms of the expenses that businesses could now afford to go digital in every part of their business, whether it's supply chain, whether it's logistics, whether it's inventory, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's production. You can think about it, and actually everything is now getting digitized. So that's the power, and it shows up that 78% of the enterprises today have embraced AI, which was only 50% a couple of years back, right? It shows that the adoption of AI is happening in a very, very rapid scale. Uh, it's not only limited to AI. I will not talk about agentic AI, and everybody knows about it, actually, what it's trying to do from a business process transformation point of view. But literally, what is changing is the entire environment, the entire ecosystem now with the power of AI, right? The data centers and the quantum computing are taking a boom. Just 2 years back, I was in a conference and people were talking about we are not able to think about a use case that quantum would solve, because there were not too many use cases that people used to think about or say which requires so much high compute that so much problem is there, and we will need that kind of a compute to solve that particular problem, right? So people didn't you find that use cases. Today we talk about, right, we have 5G, but if 6G comes tomorrow, we don't know what that bandwidth, additional bandwidth, we feel it's good enough. Whatever we are doing at home with 100 mbps, 200 mbps, 1 gigabyte, we are able to do whatever we can do it. What is that 6G is going to do? So same thing was a talk for quantum, but AI has changed the game. Now quantum is again getting talked about actually, because that's the power that AI requires to actually compute today. So AI workloads now account for 13% of global data center, and it's projected to rise to 28%. And you will be surprised that the cloud, which was 58%, is now moved to 50%. So cloud is getting lower, and the AI workloads are getting increased in every enterprise. The hyperscalers are investing close to $1 trillion in AI infrastructure alone, and that is just today's prediction, and tomorrow's prediction can be even higher. The real estate and energy sectors are being reshaped by the demand for a powered land for AI data centers. And you see every day today there is a news about a new data center. And of course, good for our country, India is considered as the next data center hub for the world. New solutions are emerging for ESG, because one side, when the data is getting consumed, now people are talking about ESG, people are talking about sustainability, people are talking about green data centers. So there is another revolution that is happening to again make sure that whatever this side is requirement, we are able to actually house that through proper design of the data centers, cooling infrastructures, and the sustainable infrastructures that we want for climate as well. Quantum computing, I think Google's Willow chip, if some of you are on the semi side, they will know that Willow chip was successfully shown that they can run 1300 times the algorithm that the previous GPUs used to do. So what does that benefits actually? The drug discovery, right? The few sectors which will really require now that kind of compute to be done. Of course, drug discovery is faster because I think the human health, where people are really putting a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of energy to really understand the human body, they are trying to analyze on a real time. That's what people call it as precision medicine. So when precision medicine starts coming up, people will say that, okay, as you as a health with your DNA, can I give you the medicine which you require at that instant of the time when you require? Not a generic medicine, but something that applies to you and your body as per your requirement. Right? So that's where drug discoveries are going to help. Logistics, of course, we have seen a 10 minutes delivery. There is a lot of things people are talking about drone, autonomous, to be used actually for delivery purposes. So that's going to be a big change. Cyber security, of course, with all these threats, cyber security again gets another beat onto that, because now a lot of hackers can really enter. And quantum is where they are talking about removing all the encryptions. So one business that you really want to think about if people are really curious about security is to actually get into a quantum based cyber security approach, right? Because that's the business that's going to thrive a lot, because it's going to change what an Y2K problem really changed, the Y2K issue. Quantum is going to remove all the encryptions today that we use across the board for internet to make it a new encryption algorithm, right? So that's going to be a massive change that's going to happen as soon as the quantum gets into an active mode. Quantum as a service, another opportunity for startups. If they are looking at it, actually, they can provide it for pharma logistics with the infrastructure that they can actually do computes faster. And like cloud came into existence, quantum service will also come into existence. So what's happening globally actually? The total AI investments is about $280 billion. What you will see in the second one, right? India has just passed China as well in terms of the region, where US is still the biggest region in terms of the AI investment. But today, because of the startup, because of the government policies, because of all the things that you see, even in the Bangalore, we see the momentum around AI is picking up. We have just crossed China, and then we are now about 11 billion, which is also going to rise very, very exponentially. The sector that are attracting capital, again, for the startups, healthcare, preferably if you know about healthcare, like the drug discovery is one thing, the research that happens onto that, the entire process of manufacturing. Today, a drug takes anywhere between 8 to 15 years to come out from the first insight of the new drug to really get into a production onto that. And people are talking about crunching that timeline to 3 to 4 years, right? So you can see a 12 years crunching time to 4 years time. That's a solid opportunity to be played with. Autonomous systems. Autonomous systems is not just autonomous driving. We all know about autonomous driving actually, but autonomous systems applies to industrial, from the smart warehouses to smart manufacturing to smart drones onto that. So it basically means that you are going to have almost zero manual or zero human interventions to the things that are going to be actually run or done with, right? So that's where a lot of AI use cases are coming out. And of course, the AI infrastructure and edge AI, where it's going into the next one, right? As GPUs and small models are coming, people are moving from GPUs to CPUs, and from that emerges a new use cases that could come and which could translate even your home appliances, your fridges, your TVs, your cars into a small machine that can talk to you and relate to you. These are some of the AI leading companies in the world. Of course, we know about OpenAI, Anthropic, Writer, Rekha. But what is something to learn from all these things for an Indian founders, right? What are things that has worked? Of course, we see a lot of these companies coming out and making waves, but we also see a lot of failures that we see today in the AI world. So what has worked for them? If you closely look at all this particular success, one, they think about enterprise, they think about global, right? They think about an enterprise deployment, not a small use case deployment into a small mid-scale enterprise. Second, they talk about integration first, right? They are not talking about an silo application which sits around your systems and then make that particular changes, but really an integrated systems which deliver the outcome that the systems would deliver. And that's why agentic AI became more popular than the generic AI models, because agentic AI was able to complete those particular transactions or workloads in different agents and different activities with a single flow. Third, partnerships are important, like you see in Writer. It's important as a startup, even if you're a startup and stuff, you need to have product. Of course, one partnership is with the cloud providers, but you need a lot of other partnerships with platform providers who can actually help you and take your things to the market. And of course, fourth is the multimodal, where you cannot now depend on a single model. You need to have technologies which are multimodal. And not only that, now people are talking about domain specific SLMs or small language models that are going to shape every single industry. So what is India stands at? We talked about 11 billion investments. We are talking about 1 trillion investments or to contributing to the GDP by 2035. Just in 10 years time, almost a 10x change. Right? Our startup ecosystem, we have 300 AI startups which have raised here 780 million funds already in 2004, end of 2004. We are in 2025. We will be possibly crossing more than triple of this particular size in 2025 alone. We have a digital advantage. Of course, India, we have the market, we have the challenges, we have the infrastructure. And now with the extensive data that we have collection on UPI, ONDC platforms, we have things that we could actually challenge the world with. And of course, we have the best of the talent that no other country possesses. So that's the power that today India has within its ecosystem. Plus the government support, right? Alone, a startup ecosystem cannot thrive on its own. We need government support. And today you see the state government or the central government, both are working effectively in terms of promoting the startup ecosystem and making the new age companies to come out. So some of the statistics there. So what is required now is to have a UPI movement for AI, which is nothing but an AI stack. An India-based LLM, which is working on all languages that we speak. An India-based orchestration layer, which basically we can connect the dots, we can make the business work together. So the entire stack we are now talking about, can that be India-led? Of course, you as a founder cannot build the whole stack, but at least if you can start thinking about a part stack within that, you can actually start creating the momentum for the entire stack to be done. Some of the Indian startups, of course, we know about Sarvam and Krutim. That's the talk everybody knows about it. Sarvam is for the languages that trying to support and go to the rural where people can talk or converse in AI with mobile. We have Unifor, which is doing conversational AI. We have Cure, which is doing medical diagnostics. We have Yellow, which is talking about AI chatbots in a multilingual way. We have Orai Robotics for customer engagement, and we have Locus for logistics optimization. Some of the early use cases where people or the investor have shown interest, and they have kind of funded the companies to go and do their own product or solutions. So why India can leapfrog in AI, right? Of course, we talked about the talent, prime thing. We have the talent that is necessary. We have the infrastructure. Our compute affordability, actually, today's GPU cost in India is almost 3x lower than the global standards. That's a big advantage today that India carries. The policy and ecosystem support, we have multilingual edge, we have a cultural depth, and we have a startup velocity that no other country has. So all this gives power to all the particular people. And when I talk about India, it's all about the individual founders that are sitting here or aspiring to be founders to play in this particular space. So challenges, of course, we talked about opportunities. Some of the challenges actually, we are not able to scale beyond pilots. Again, because we are looking at one use case, not an enterprise rollout. So three things has to be looked upon: tech, process, and governance. We generally focus only on tech and leave it there. When it gets deployed as a pilot, we then start thinking about what is the process that we are going to follow, what are the SOPs that are going to come, what is the governance that we are going to put it, right? How the ethical aspects or responsible AI is going to be looked upon. We think about that as a post facto. So that cannot be actually done as part of the pilot. You need to think that from day one. We have funding gaps. So when we go up to Series A, we get about that particular stuff, some angel funding, some root funding initially. Then we are not able to explain our story. We get stuck there. And that's where we have another challenge to not move from that particular point. Despite we have India AI and every GPU access, the standardization is still a bottleneck. So we are not able to actually look at where do I standardize in. When UPI came in, a lot of fintech world started really putting it because they had one standard stack to follow. If they have to deploy anything in India with a fintech solution, they had one stack to follow. So it actually allowed it. Today, there is no standard to follow with respect to that. You have plethora of LLMs, you have plethora of technologies, you have plethora of platform, plethora of hyperscalers. We don't have something called an India AI stack, which basically, again, has a challenge in terms of infrastructure. We don't have a global mindset. We are thinking still in a peacetime. We are not like a wartime. Let's get into it. Let's do it. Let's complete it and put it. And this requires what DJ said, collaboration. It cannot come with one founding team or one founder standing up and doing it. And we have also the navigation that we need to do to ensure that we are not compromising on data privacy and governing laws as well. So these are some of the challenges that we must overcome. So what is required? What is the opportunity for startups and founders? We have to solve the real scalable problem. We cannot think in parts, right? Let's think problem in the whole. The solution can come in parts, but we have to think the problem in a whole and build for global from day one, right? Build AI native infrastructure, leverage all the stuff that we have, cloud, GPU, everything actually, so that it's AI first in your approach. Just 5 years back, we were talking about mobile first, but needs to be an AI first. Today, as a founder, if you go and talk about any solution or platform that you have, and you don't use the AI word, probably there is not a single investor that wants to look at you. Right? Focus on execution over invention. Don't keep on inventing. People have invented models, so don't try and implement another LLM, take another 3 years to develop another LLM. Go and find execution. Go and find the real use cases that can solve a particular problem. Built for IPO readiness, you need governance, compliance. All IPOs is not just about technology and beauty stuff. People have fallen from billion-dollar valuations to almost zero, but just because they don't have the right governance or compliance that they have taken to. And you need to have a very good narrative, purpose-driven story. And I'm sure DJ will be more excited to work with you to create that compelling story for your solution. So this, I don't want to go into detail, but you might be thinking, okay, then what? Where do I need to put my energy? Where do I need to focus? Where do I need that use case? Where do I find it? Right? So some of these things I tried to compile it into a single slide to basically give you a little bit perspective about, as AI is for everyone, it's really for everyone, right? And any sector that you choose upon, right? Just think about the AI opportunity within that particular sector. What is the India advantage? Try to leverage that, because if you can sell it in India, you can market it in India, most likely you will be able to take that product and market that solution for global. You have startup examples that have been given actually, so that you can look at those particular companies which have solved a particular use case into a realistic one, deployed it, and really got that particular investment. Because if you have a client base, investments are not a problem. Today, investors are there working on your doorstep just to make sure that you have the real problem and the real solution. So investment is not a problem, but getting the real client who's a paying customer is a problem. And I think you guys should focus on the customer than the investors. So Of course, from healthcare, education, agri-tech, fintech, retail, logistics, legal, manufacturing, you name it, sectors which has never touched IT before are touching IT today because of AI, right? And I think that's a wonderful opportunity all of you guys should really embrace and work with. Of course, SutraNova's role. So as a venture, we are supporting the collaboration mindset. We are working with each other, trying to find out the strength of the company, helping companies from global to come to India, which are startup companies, right? Focused on only startup companies to come to India because that comes with the idea. And if they can collaborate with an Indian startup, you can see the power that we can together bring in. So the vision for the company is about 100 plus entrepreneurs, 10,000 jobs, and $1 billion unicorn with a combined collaboration, which is not easy as it sounds. So AI is just not a tech, it's a tectonic shift. The next unicorn will be born in the intersection of intelligence, infrastructure, and of course, imagination, which is your ideas. So let's co-create the next AI unicorn with all of your support. I just wanted to leave with a thought that all these things are good, but the principles, the three principles DJ talked about, I have also that coined it a little bit extension to what DJ said. It's 3 Ps and 3 Cs. So 3 Ps is, of course, he talked about having a defined purpose. Onto that, I have just added passion and perseverance to that, because purpose is good to have, but if you don't have a passion, a fire within that to actually resolve your purpose, it's not going to help with your purpose. And you need perseverance actually, because this is not an easy world. You'll have to keep yourself motivated every single day to make sure that you are actually progressing with the purpose that you started with and you want to achieve your purpose. So that's the 3 Ps for you to basically, if you are a founder, please, you can forget the rest of the particular stuff, rest of the adjectives, but just remember this 3 Ps. And of course, the 3 Cs, which comes during your execution, which is communication. You need to be very, very highly communicative. You have to have that sense of communication, whether you're telling your story, you're presenting your solution, you're going to investor, you're going to customer, you need to have a solid communication. If you can't bring it, get a co-founder who can bring that communication along with you, right? Second C is collaboration. You need to work in a collaborative mode. Today's enterprises are not going to be solo entrepreneurs or family entrepreneurs. Tomorrow's generation is going to be a collaborative entrepreneurship, and I think that you need to support on that. And the third C is your commitment to what you are talking. It's as simple as just starting the meeting on time. I was just telling to Anup as well, actually, we need to start the meeting on time, right? So it's a commitment that you put yourself into when you start something new. So if you have these 3 Ps and 3 Cs, I don't think anything is impossible. AI will come, the new age will come, new technologies will come, but just follow the guidance of 3 Ps and 3 Cs. Thank you very much. Can we take some questions? Any questions, guys? Of course, it can be with the presentation or without the presentation as well. Anything that comes in your mind. Can we pass on the mic? No. You can talk, but others can't listen.
See this AI slop word, right? Because AI is sort of easy, at least to begin with, right? There is too much of junk that is getting created.
Yes.
So from the VC perspective, how are you filtering it? And any examples which you can quote?
I'll talk about the VC. I'm not yet a VC there actually, but the filtering is simple, right? What is that problem statement? Like I said, actually everything boils down to the problem statement. Is that a real problem that you're trying to solve? You might have the best of the solution in the market, but nobody comes to you for a solution. Everybody sees that if you understood the problem well, and that problem is across, not with one single company or one single particular area of work or something, then the problem can be addressed in a larger scale and the solution can be applied to the larger scale. So that's what the first thing that they look at it. Second, whether it's a product, solution or service. Today people are talking about a solution, but it's actually a service. They end up giving an agentic AI workflow when people ask for that. That's a service. That's not a solution. So investors are cutting down that particular services business, which is happening in the name of solution business, onto that, right? So that cutting down is anyways happening. And third is, of course, have you thought about running it operationally, right? Do you know the cost? Do you know the things that you are going to deal with as a runtime expense for you? Because AI is not coming cheap, at least for now. Of course, it will come cheap later as it starts evolving, but now it's not cheap. So have you really thought about that, and whether the payers, the enterprises or the customers of yours are ready to pay that price for that? For that, right? So, and of course, it's going to be more as a service than a solution. You will not have probably a AI which is given as a one-time payment, right? It will always be a service that you will be able to provide. And that's why you see actually, one of the things that I wanted to talk, I think that addresses your question, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things actually you guys have to fill out, right? AI has always two sides of the coin. One side of the coin is what these hyperscalers are doing. They are creating a buzz, right? They are creating a lot of buzz today actually. But what is happening is a circular economy within the buzz. What is Microsoft doing? Investing in OpenAI. What is OpenAI doing? Expensing it out. What is expensing it out? To the cloud infrastructure. So it is paying back to Microsoft. Microsoft is counting that as the revenues, right? And showing that particular revenues up quarter on quarter. Are they real revenues? They are not real revenues, right? Is the expenses of OpenAI onto that particular infrastructure. So that's one bubble that is really happening onto that. The other side, if you look at it, the platform providers which are already ingrained into the enterprises, whether it's a ServiceNow, MongoDB, right? All this particular Salesforce, all these particular platform players are solving critical problems. So if you see their revenues year on year, which is almost everybody has grown 33% year on year, right? Just in 1 year's time. These are real output actually, because they are delivering and deploying it to the real enterprises and they are seeing the value. The customers are paying the amount for that. So these are real players who are from nowhere coming up and then making the waves actually. So you need to be actually very careful which world you are playing with. Are you still in the bubble, or you are really making the money out of this particular whole buzzwords? Right? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for
One last question.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe this question is out of the topic.
Sure.
So, does AI really affect our next generation? That's my question.
We should ask the next generation. Whom do you consider the next generation?
Maybe our kids.
Kids. Okay. So, see, it will affect, because every technology that has changed has affected the next generation, right? We can't say that that generation will leave our generation and be there with the same tech and stuff like that, right? I think DJ rightly pointed out, if his kid can play the games and do a better prompt, I would expect my kids to do it, or even the future generation onto that. So they need to be adopted. They need to quickly learn about what's happening and get acquainted far more. And I'm sure our granddaughters or grandsons will teach us more about how to use the new tech. Though we are techies in some sense, right? We call ourselves techies, but they will teach us in the new sense what it would mean to do our stuff, right? We are used to do a book my show or make my trip in a certain way. I don't think that's going to apply after 10 years, right? It will be a voice command. It will say book the ticket from Pune to Bangalore with so and so date, and prefer pricing is this one. If you get it, go and book it, and next minute the ticket is available for you. We are not used to that, right? So they will have to go through a change. And good thing is actually that we didn't got that access early on when we started our academics and everything. But now even these lower standard colleges, schools are going through that particular phase to make them AI aware, right? Which is fantastic. And I think we should leave them to learn on their own rather than catch them actually, because market is facing fast and technology is going very fast now. So it will be a change, right? We just have to get adopted to it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you guys. Thanks for all the patience and all the listening, and hope you can carry something out and be useful for your next founder. And if anything is there, actually, Anup has my number. And if you want to get contacted and then reach out to me, please feel free to reach out. Yes, you have one question.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Very nice talk, sir. Thanks so much. My name is Deepthi. I'm the founder of Upload, which is a WhatsApp-based
Awesome.
referral platform based on AI. So nowadays, you must have seen it's becoming easier and easier for founders to build on their own.
Yes.
So seed strapping is something that's become a common term. So at what point do you think is it good for a founder to start thinking about raising? And as a VC, like, are you seeing the trends change? And I'd love your advice on that.
See, I personally don't like to go to investor. I always like the reverse, right? I think we should make so much noise, so much branding, so much talk with our client and stuff like that, that investors should come back to us and say, boss, we want to invest in you. And that will happen if your product is really awesome. Because it's one way to just get the fund. You don't know the pressure that goes on with that fund sitting on your hand day in, day out, onto that, circling beyond it, and they asking for a 5x returns and a 10x returns in every meeting where it's going. So it's not easy to just get the fund and be there actually. But if you're so proud about your product and proud about what you are doing it, first, your customers will be paying customers. They should make you operational very soon. And second, investors should come to you and say, boss, we want to invest onto you. Right? You saw the Lenskart announcement today morning. Who invested in Lenskart today morning? Major company invested in Lenskart. Guys, don't read the news. DMart. DMart invested just before its pre-IPO, right? I don't think Lenskart would have even gone there, but the DMart founder just thought that I think it's important to make money. And that's how the investment should happen really, actually. People should come after you to make all that investments actually. But just keep focusing, because the moment you digress yourself from focusing from a product to a fund, your mind just gets digressed actually onto that. And that valuations are of no meaning. No meaning. Absolutely no meaning. 10x valuation, 20x valuation, no meaning. But if your product is really getting that revenues onto that, you will earn much more and much more valuable, with equity also not getting diluted in front of you. So
Makes sense.
best
Thank
of
you
luck.
so much, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually, we
Yes.
would love.
Just last one. Good afternoon, Mr. Sandeep. Thank you so much for the talk. Mine is a pretty straightforward question. You had mentioned at the fag end of your talk, just go get a co-founder, right? So it's very easy to kind of mention
Yes.
that, make a statement. But how do you actually get a co-founder? Because I'm a 4-month-old baby in the startup world. We are into healthcare. I have a passion. I'm not a doctor, nor I'm a science graduate, but I have a passion to do this because of a personal experience which my wife underwent. So I'm looking for a co-founder. So how do I basically get one?
See, I think we are human social being, right? We are a social creature, right? Humans are born with that social instinct in mind. So network is the only way. I would suggest go and join. I was just talking to some of my fellow colleagues as well, that go and join some community where you get a larger access to like-minded people. I belong to TIE actually, so I represent TIE Bangalore. I'm part of their board as well. And whenever I meet such people, I say join TIE. Because TIE has 17,000 people globally as charter members into that. And plus Bangalore chapter is the fastest growing chapter in the world, right? So when you join that particular stuff, when you have such request, you have to just give your particular statement. This is what you are looking at it. Imagine out of 17,000, one person from Uganda raises hand and says, I will do it for you. And this looks like a passion that I wanted to always build it. You get a founder from nowhere. Not only the founder, the experience, the client base, everything comes along with it. So it's just your ability to go reach out into the right network and then put it. You can't, of course, put it in your apartment community and ask for it, but you have to put it into the right forums and put that. Happy to support and get you as part of that particular charter. I'm sure there will be a lot of co-founders who are ready to put it, who are again struggling on the other end. They don't know whom to collaborate with. So it's a good way to tie up.
That'll be great, Mr. Sandeep. I'll talk to you after this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
A lot from you, sir, but due to time constraints, we have to go forward with the event. Anyone having questions, they can contact sir. He'll be available here offline and online as well. Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable insights and experiences with us today. Your words were truly inspiring for all of us. and it gave us a fresh perspective to learn and grow from.
I
We would
would
like to
like to
call.
call Anup sir to hand over the memento to the Mr.